I'm Eddie Bloom from Bloom Bar. I'm going to be handing some predictions from the watch world to react to, and also I'm going to talk about what I hope to see coming up from Rolex. So the team have prepared for me a selection of images and mock-ups of watches that may or may not be produced, and I'm going to have a look at them and see what we think. So we seem to be starting with Daytonas, which I think is quite fitting considering the 60th anniversary of the Daytona is coming up, so everyone's assuming there's going to be some sort of anniversary Daytona. And what someone seems to have produced here is a Tiffany dialed, probably platinum cased Daytona. Very, very nice. Maybe slightly feminine for a Daytona. I quite like the red thin rings on the sub-dials. I think obviously that would sell very, very well. It's a Tiffany dial. Anything with a Tiffany dial sells very well. It's very much in the moment. And it seems to be working well for every brand that uses it. So I could definitely see that being produced. Don't know if they will, but I think if they did, it would sell very, very well. Moving on, I don't know about this one. It looks okay. It looks maybe a little bit Tudory, but this is a some sort of reinvention of the current Panda stainless steel Daytona with the white dial, albeit the black sub-dials are totally black, both inner and outer rings. I think it looks a little bit heavy. It's taken some of the elegance away from something that is already lovely. So nice option. Can't see them making that. Moving on, bimetal Daytona. Very nice. Now with a ceramic bezel. Champagne and black sub-dial Pikachu dial, I think they call it. I can see that being made. I think that would sell really well as well. And then moving on, a dial that already exists, black with gold sub-dials, bimetal, but again now with a ceramic bezel. I think they've got to bring out a ceramic bezel bimetal. I think it's definitely a natural move. So I can definitely see that, and I like all of those options apart from the white ceramic with the Panda dial. I think I'd probably like to see something in stainless steel with some green. We've obviously seen the John Mayer green dial, yellow gold Daytona, and that obviously traded really, really well. But I think something with some green in it, in stainless steel format, I think would sell incredibly well. Maybe a blue dial version of a yellow gold. I think that would also be great. From the Oysterflex family, I mean, a stainless steel Oysterflex would be great. At the moment, they're only made in precious metals. I think a stainless steel version would be great because Daytona is a really versatile watch, but there's quite a lot to scratch on it, like there is with all polished bracelets. And by having that Oysterflex strap, it just makes the watch more versatile and a little bit more rugged. So I think that would sell really well. Other than that, I kind of don't really mind what comes out. It's always nice to look on the website on the day and see what they're actually producing, and then just really waiting until we're offered some of the first ones, which we inadvertently are, and then we get to sell them. So I'm kind of quite happy to leave it to surprise. So along with the 60th anniversary of the Daytona coming up, we've also got the 70th anniversary of the Submariner, and we all assume that's going to bring something special and new from the house of Rolex. So again, the team have prepared a few images that have been produced by other Instagram accounts and YouTube accounts of things that might be produced, and really cool looking mock-ups, and I'm going to take a look at them. So what we've got here is what looks like a Tudor with the solid red bezel. I think that red's a little bit bright and kind of cherry red. I think it would need to be a lot darker for that to work for Rolex. Right now, I think that would just really, really cheapen the Submariner. Obviously, it would sell. Anything with a Submariner, anything with a Rolex or a Submariner logo on it is going to sell well, but I can't see them making that. Although, I think if they changed the colour of the red and made it much deeper, that could be a possibility. At the bottom here, we have got a solid yellow gold, effectively a solid yellow gold Hulk. I think that could look really, really good. It's got the ingredients to make it sell incredibly well. I'd really like to see that. I think there'd be a long waiting list for that, obviously. I think I'd like to see a bit of a change in bracelet. Currently, Submariners are only produced with oyster bracelets, and there is a reason to that. Submariners are diving watches, GMTs are not. So, because GMTs are not really meant for diving, they're pilot's watches effectively. There's more flexibility on materials that can be used and strength of bracelets. And I think, obviously, for example, rose gold, which is much softer than yellow gold, works quite well on a watch that's not used for diving and isn't going to get bashed around as much. but that's why Submariners use generally harder metals. But I would like to see a Submariner maybe on a Jubilee bracelet. It wouldn't be traditional, but I think it could look great. And then again, I think an Oyster Flex bracelet would look great on a Submariner. It would just make a sporty watch even more sporty and a little bit more usable. What else? I really like the idea of some red. I think that would really look good. I think it just needs to be in a completely different shade of red for that to work well. Maybe we'll see some sort of reincarnation of a green, or bringing back a Hulk for the anniversary, or something that's been and gone before. I don't know. I really don't know. But I'm sure whatever they'll bring out, it'll be good and it'll sell really, really well. So there's no GMT anniversary coming up, but there's usually something new from the GMT family in most annual releases. So we're hoping there's something special coming along this year. So that's nice. A Jubilee bracelet, Coke GMT. I think it's more than about time that Rolex bring the Coke back into the lineup. It was such a popular watch when it was produced from the 90s to the early 2000s, and I think that's one that's really been missing from the current GMT family. It would sell incredibly well. Of course, waiting lists would be mad, and they would sell for big premiums. So if that came out either with an Oyster or Jubilee or both bracelets, would do incredibly well. I'd love to see that. And then a Sprite, but a right-handed version. Now, I love the colouring on the Sprite, but to this day, they still make me feel a little bit sick to look at with the left-handed crown. It's never been a favourite of mine. I don't like wearing them. Some people dislike them so much that they wear them upside down. They do sell very well. I've always been honest to say there's some things I like and some things I don't like. Doesn't mean we can't sell it. But if they brought that out in a right-handed version, both with Oyster and Jubilee bracelets, I would absolutely love it. I'd buy one in a heartbeat if I could. And someone seems to have thrown in a blueberry here. Blueberries are lovely. I mean, I've seen very few of them actually in the flesh over the years. These were produced in the mid-70s with this really lovely, almost petrol-y blue bezel insert. Again, I love to see Rolex bringing back things that were produced in the past. I think that would do incredibly well. So really, really hope we get to see something like that. Overall, if any three of those were produced, I'd be really, really happy. But apart from the obvious Submariners, Daytonas, GMTs, there are a few oddballs that have been thrown about, such as, and it is also an anniversary year for the Explorer, so someone's mocked up a white-dialed Explorer with Arabic 369. I think that actually is a really, really nice thing for them to produce. And someone else has also suggested that they might be a kind of tribute Milgauss. So going back to the original Milgauss with the black bezel, with the red triangle at 12, that really would sell incredibly well. Over the years, we've actually sold customized versions of those, and they've sold incredibly well. So I think a genuine Rolex one would be brilliant. The Milgauss is definitely due some sort of overhaul. It's always been a bit of a Marmite watch, but prices of them held really, really well, and they're very saleable. And I think it would be crazy for Rolex to not bring out some sort of new Milgauss at some point. Might not be this year, might be a little bit further down the line. But if those are the oddballs, then I definitely welcome them. Thanks very much for watching. Please comment below, and also please include anything that you think might be coming up from Rolex at the end of the month. And then please check back in a couple of weeks and we'll see if we were right about what they may or may not have produced.